You're watching Wish TV, News 8 and 11 with Phil Sanchez.
Well, a recent study suggests that the U.S. power grid, as it stands, couldn't handle if all homes and vehicles went electric. Now, that report found it could cost thousands of dollars per household to reinforce the nation's grid. Purdue University is looking to find some solutions. Kevin Kircher is a mechanical engineering professor at Purdue. He joins us now for our unfiltered conversation. Kevin, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So first question here, that report, as you very well know, finds the U.S. power grid can't support everyone going electric. So what kind of problems are we talking about here?
Well, let me start with a little bit of background. So in my opinion, there are two really exciting developments that are maybe underappreciated with U.S. energy systems over the last maybe 10 to 15 years. And one of those has to do with electricity supply and the other with electricity demand. So on the supply side, I think a lot of people maybe don't recognize that the U.S. Electricity grid has gotten a lot cleaner over the last maybe 10 to 15 years as we've adopted things like wind turbines and solar panels, but also nuclear power plants, geothermal, hydropower, and so on. So cleaner electricity. And then on the demand side, a lot of electric machines, things like electric vehicles, but also electric heat pumps for space heating and cooling, have gotten competitive with fossil fueled incumbents, both on cost and also on performance. So the combination of those two trends, sort of on the supply side and the demand side, have plugged together into what some people call the electrify everything movement. The idea there is that if we all replace our fossil fueled equipment, then we can have a variety of benefits using all of that new abundant and clean electricity that we're generating. So those benefits can happen for public health and air quality.
Yeah.
So for example, burning less stuff inside of our homes can improve indoor air quality and health outcomes, avoiding things like respiratory illness and also some forms of cancer. And then also we can have climate benefits. So if we waved a magic wand and cleaned up the grid entirely and electrified everything, we could reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by somewhere between 1/2 and 2/3. And there can also be cost benefits as well. So a lot of reasons to want to switch to electric demand.
Sure.
From fossil fuel, but
I hate to cut you off, but I mean, obviously easier said than done, right? First off, trying to get people on that same page, because there are two schools of thought here. So what is Purdue doing to help out with this?
Yeah, so kind of the elephant in the room around electrify everything is the impact that all that new electricity demand might have on power grids. And as you rightly mentioned, reinforcing the grid to accommodate, maybe 2 or 3 times as much electricity demand as we have historically seen is a really heavy lift. And so if utilities basically went through and more or less rebuilt the power grid, upsizing power lines and transformers and things like that to accommodate all of this new electricity demand, it could cost between $350 and $800 billion to do nationwide. And that's, as you put it, several $1,000s at least per household in the US.
Right. So go ahead.
Yeah, so that's kind of if we rebuild the grid. Now, there are alternatives, and we've looked into a few of them in this study. So one of them would be to deploy more efficient equipment, so more efficient electric vehicles, more efficient heat pumps, and things like that for space heating. Another alternative would be to reduce the amount of demand that we put onto our heating systems. For example, by better insulating our houses, by sealing up air gaps around our doors and windows, or a solution that I like, shifting gradually over time from the detached single-family housing that's kind of the norm today to more attached multifamily housing, which uses a lot less energy per square foot of living area. And the third solution that we looked into, which actually was surprisingly effective, was coordinating the operation of things like electric vehicles alongside the smart thermostats that run our space heating, air conditioning, water heating, and so forth. So if we could basically just have software and communication systems that do all that sort of coordinating of device operation, we could reduce the costs of grid build out by over 40% and save somewhere between $150 and $350 billion.
Well, there you go. Kevin, I have 1 minute left. Number one, what are some of the hurdles and how long would it take to get there?
Yeah, so some of the hurdles for the solutions. So my research group works, we have a couple of test houses where we work on software and communication systems to coordinate the operation of all the kind of modern devices that you would see in kind of the home of the future. there are challenges, certainly just getting devices to talk to each other. If they're made by a range of different manufacturers, an EV made by GM and a heat pump made by Carrier, getting those devices talking requires significant investment of time. And then there's the software and the algorithms to do all of that coordination, although that's actually, maybe ironically, a little bit more developed in the research world, and I think we have solutions that are closer to ready to go.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Kevin Kircher with Purdue University, thank you so much for joining us on a very interesting topic. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.